behind the CBC's Cameron McIntosh, who's been going through more of what the witnesses to this crime saw and had to say. Cameron.
Nancy, many of the passengers say the images just keep going through their minds. A routine bus ride that turned into something out of a horror film.
Best you can describe.
Garnet Caden remembers a tall, dark man getting on the bus.
Still not sure if he was Asian or if he was native, but he was one of the two for sure. Big guy, 6 feet, 200 some pounds.
There was nothing out of the ordinary.
He sat in the front very calmly, somewhere in the front, put his stuff away, didn't say a word to anybody.
That was in Brandon, Manitoba. As the bus moved east towards Winnipeg, it made one rest stop. The man got off to smoke a cigarette, then changed seats.
He came right back to the back and sat next to the victim, who was right behind me, and put his things above in the overhead there and sat down. He didn't say anything to the victim. The victim was just sleeping with his headphones on. He was leaning against the window, sleeping, you know, doing his own little thing.
The victim, a young man, Cody Olmstead had just been chatting with at a rest stop.
I never really took the time to get to know him, but he seemed to be okay, right? Just a kid.
Like, how old would you figure?
Between 18 and 22, but he didn't look that old.
And he'd gotten on the bus in Brandon?
No, I do believe he got on in Edmonton.
The bus motored on, a movie playing to pass the time.
We're watching Zorro, and next thing I know, I hear somebody scream.
I thought it was a fist fight at first. The one guy was standing up, and you know, arms were flailing.
And I look back, and there's some big guy holding this little fella up against, like, between the bathroom door and the seat.
I saw the guy had a big freaking Rambo knife, hunting knife, and it was covered in blood. And he just kept going at the guy. It was like he was a robot, though. The guy had, you know, he wasn't screaming at the guy, or he wasn't in a rage. It was just very calmly killing the guy. The other guy was screaming bloody murder. When I knew what was going on, I ran up as close as I could to the front of the bus and screamed at the driver, "Stop the bus. Okay, there's somebody getting stabbed. Everybody get off the bus now."
Everyone got off the bus, horrified at what they saw next.
Well, everyone's staring at this guy getting stabbed to death. We eventually all got out, moved to the back of the bus.
Caden and the driver tried to barricade the door. A passing trucker stopped. Seeing trouble, he came to Caden and the driver with a couple of crowbars.
The three of us entered the bus to see if the victim was still alive, or if there was something that we could do, what was going on in there. And we saw the guy was over top of him, and he was clearly cutting the guy's head off and gutting him like an animal.
The tall man then turned at them. The three men got out. The driver locked the bus door from the outside. The man came up to the door.
That's when he brought the head up, and he came right calmly right towards us with the knife in one hand, the head in the other. And the three of us were just standing there in shock, and he just calmly looked at us with sunglasses on, dropped the head in front of us like it was no big deal, right?
He comes up and he picks the head up, and he's waving it in the window. I just smoked a cigarette with this man earlier, right? The head. And he's shaking it back and forth to the window, and it's really intense, right? It's sickening, and I was just making sure. I wasn't worried about myself at the time. I was just worried about everybody else being okay, right?
I threw up at that point. I think the other guy did too. I'd never seen anything like that.
Sad for the family of the young fella. I feel sad for the people that's in here, because not very many people ever see somebody be decapitated, right? Or experience what we've experienced.
You know, I feel guilty that I didn't do something, but I feel that, you know, if I probably would have been a victim too if I would have tried to stop him.
In all of this, none of the witnesses we spoke to say they saw or heard anything that could have provoked the attack. And at no time did it appear that the attacker or the victim knew each other. Nancy?
Cameron McIntosh reporting from Winnipeg tonight.